Live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, here we are again, another day committed to being your consumer advocate, helping you understand your buying decisions, sorting through a lot of the nonsense in the mainstream media, making you more street smart here on the show. Saver Hotline, we would love to connect with you. Last week we had a lot of people calling in looking to get pre-approved for a mortgage. They were wanting to find out more about how they can clean up their credit or maybe get some items removed from their credit, valuation checks. There's lots of ways we can help you here with the Consumer Quarterback Show. Several different attorneys associated with the show, great home service companies. If you need any of that, reach out to the hotline, 813-750-0550.
You used to call me on my cell
Call or text the
phone.
hotline, 813-750-0557. And I implore you to check out the website as well, consumerqb.com, consumerqb.com. And we got a great lineup for you today here, and I want to make our introductions. Ray Hall Appraisals, welcome in, my friend.
Thanks for having me back, Brandon. Always a good time.
Yes, sir. So we talk about appraisal values, market trends, and today I thought too we might break down. We'll go through each one. We'll talk about residential, talk about commercial, some vacant land, and then of course commercial breaks into retail, industrial, office.
A lot of different things in commercial.
Yeah,
it's it's not like residential where it's pretty cookie cutter. It's a lot, but yeah, we definitely go into that.
Cool. That'll be fun. Kind of get your perspective because I know you do a lot of appraisals each year. What's your estimated number of appraisals you're going to do this year?
Let's see. I did a little over 900 last year. I'm hoping to, break 1,000, obviously.
Nice.
And, if I can do, not heading towards 1,500, but if I can do it, that'd be great.
That's awesome.
We're hiring some more people, and hopefully they're going to expand. And we're just a growing business right now. It's great.
Very cool. Good to hear. We got our friend Greg Bowman as well coming in, AC guy of Tampa Bay. He's going to be up next, local area contractor, great company, great guy, AC guy of Tampa.com. And finalizing our show would be Millicent Athanason, law offices of Millicent Athanason. She's got great information, different areas of law, and she really educates our listeners. She takes great pride in, bringing in great content each time she's on the show to update and kind of add value to your lives. So we greatly appreciate that. We appreciate our Salem radio family out there, all those who have great conversations during the week. People say, I listen to your show. I've been listening to it for years, and it's very complimentary. So we really appreciate that. We appreciate everybody who supports our radio show partners. That's what it's all about, is supporting the local economy. You see these companies like the big tech companies. I don't need to say the names, but you know who they are. The big online retailer starts with an A. These guys are taking over the world, and we greatly appreciate you supporting the local area economy right here in Tampa Bay. So it means the world to us when you support our show, and we greatly appreciate that. Got a couple of hot listings from the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. My wife Lindsay and I own a top-ranked real estate team, top 1% ranked team here in Tampa Bay, and we got a great opportunity here in Tampa Bay, 3506 Caleb's Forest Trail in Dover. This is a gorgeous property. It's out in East Hillsborough County. It's a pool home, executive style property on over an acre of land. Just a great opportunity to own real estate right here in Tampa Bay. 3506 Caleb's Forest Trail in Dover. Just a beautiful property, outdoor kitchen. Just amazing property. Check it out. Listed right around $799 ask price right here in Tampa Bay. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
This is God's country.
And a quick shout out to Veteran Gutters, Brandon Porter and his team. They do a wonderful job. American-made products right here in Tampa Bay. Another local area expert contributor on the show from time to time. Veteran Gutters, they did a great job on my home, so I can tell you a firsthand experience. It was a first-class organization, and they did a great job. All right, let's jump into it. Ray Hall Appraisals here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Lots been said about the market, and some people are always talking about, there's a bubble. People that are, kind of worried about, they saw what happened in 08, 09. But what's your overall take on the market?
Nobody really going to know what happens right now because a lot of this was fueled from the pandemic. Mm-hmm. The pandemic happens, every 100 years. Last time was the Spanish flu. Before that was the plague. Yeah. So this is really kind of uncharted territory. We don't know. I mean, our market right now is being driven by the increase in population. People are moving down to Florida. I believe the statistic was 1,000 people a day.
Right.
Are coming to Florida. Now, if we're in California in the Northeast, I don't know what's fueling their market. But, one good thing about Florida is, we have a lot of inventory and we're selling a lot of inventory, but we are filling it. People are coming here and they're bringing their jobs and they're bringing their money and they're fueling our economy. I'm optimistic about Florida's market. We've seen the values going up, and it's just, it's hard to say what could cause, a burst in a bubble. But again, this is due to increased demand, and that's what the important thing is. It's not sort of a, like a Bitcoin type thing where everyone's just jumping on a bandwagon and hopping into a market. It's literally people need homes, people are moving to Florida, and people are buying our residential real estate, and it's done a great thing for our market. I mean, it's
a great
incredible.
hedge against inflation as well.
Absolutely. If you look at value trends over time, sure, we had that dip from about 2008 to about, probably 2010, 11, we started to come back.
Yep.
But, values, as of a year ago, 2 years ago, we were back to where the 2005 values were, which were extremely high. And I remember a lot of people at that time saying, well, after this crash, we're never going to get back to those values again.
Right.
We did it, and we will again. Florida is one of those markets. There are certain parts of the country that don't have constant appreciation in the real estate market. There's an area called the Rust Belt. Kind of called that because of the steel mining that used to be in those areas, and they have fairly stable values. They're very popular for income properties because you don't have that here in Florida. We've always had appreciation.
Yep.
And there's just a huge popularity in our state now. We've always attracted tourists. Now we're attracting new residents.
Yeah.
So,
seems like it's been a trend going on since the inventions of AC, right, Greg? We talked about that. Once the AC was invented, it's like, okay, we can move south. We can enjoy tropical paradise.
Yep.
We can live here. Now you got baseball, all the different sports teams and fine dining and just the outdoors. I mean, what a great place to live, work, and play.
Oh, yeah.
And then also compounding that effect now is, like you said, just this pandemic that just happened to be an election year pandemic, right? but we won't go there right now. But, when you look at blue state to red state, you look at big city urban area where they want to lock you down in your 1,000 square foot condo, and they want to lock you down. You can't leave. Got to wear a mask and bubble wrap. If you're walking outside,
you got to hide under a blanket too. Or something
yeah, exactly. And then you come down to these free states, the free state of Florida, governed by Ron DeSantis, who's doing just an amazing job. They're already calling for him to run for president. I mean, that's the big differences that I see.
Oh yeah, and I'll give you an example. I went up to Massachusetts for Thanksgiving. And you have to wear a mask if you walk out of your house up there. Well, that was the rule back then.
Yeah.
And out of curiosity, I came down and you look at up there, and they had approximately like 600,000 cases of COVID. And then they'll look at Florida and say, but you had 2.1 million. But our population's 21 million, and the population of Massachusetts is 6 million. So really, we had 10% of the population did get infected with COVID.
Yep.
And we were, I saw, it was my sister posting, oh, bars are opening May, whatever. And I'm thinking, I've been hitting the bar since July.
Yeah.
So we still, we were open. Our economy was going. The businesses were open. People were back to work. I go through Dunkin' Donuts. They're begging for employees.
Exactly.
Begging for them. And, that was all because we didn't put everybody out of business.
Yeah.
We took a little precaution, then we opened up, and here we are, and we're doing great. And
I got a clip for this. We actually kind of led into this. I wasn't planning on playing this clip, but this is DeSantis on Fauci, because thinking about Fauci now, they're talking about he is potentially tied to, allegedly tied to the Wuhan stuff going on, or where the origination came from. So we'll play this clip.
Now we have information that this very well may have emanated from the Wuhan lab, that it was a leak from the lab. But you remember when people last year were raising that as something that needed to be investigated, they were deplatformed for talking about the lab leak. They were censored for having said that. And now even Fauci admits that this may be something that very well is the case. Are they going to now censor Fauci and pull him down off social media?
See, so then it gets into the big tech, the censoring, and where did this originate from? That's been the latest talk is, where did this come from? Was this one of the biggest possible, crimes against humanity? Potentially.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Or definitely in the past, 100 years.
Yeah.
But you're probably right on that. And, it's a shame about all this censoring. I was on Facebook and I posted a meme, something to do with, I can't remember what it was, but it was just for fun.
Yeah.
And it was just meant to be funny. And I got to notice that they were going to censor it because it was an unsafe recommendation or something like that. They eventually released it and did post it, but I was surprised. I'm thinking, why me?
Yeah.
Well,
because you don't fit with the Menlo Park millionaire elite class. You don't fit in that class.
Right.
And you don't agree with their you committed what Orwell would call in 1984 a thought crime.
Exactly. Exactly.
You got caught with a thought crime there. To do it again, you're going to get thrown in real jail.
Yeah. I mean,
that's where we're going, right?
Oh, jokes are going to be illegal within the next 5 years.
Comedians. Look at some of these comedians. I used to love to listen to Rogan's podcast. And, some of the different comedians that would come on there saying, man, I can't, half my material's gone. Bill Burr, some of these guys, I can't even joke about anybody anymore.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Daniel Tosh isn't in prison yet, I don't understand.
Yeah, that guy goes off the chain with his stuff, yeah.
Exactly. So, it's, I don't know. Let's hope things get better, but, at least we're working down here, right?
So we got Ray Hall here on the show, Ray Hall Appraisals. If you want to get a value check on your property, any property you have, commercial, vacant land, residential properties. Ray, I want to go kind of lightning round style here.
Sure.
Let's talk a little bit about vacant land. What are the opportunities? What are the threats?
Vacant land, the threat is going to be, do you have time to develop it? Mm-hmm. How long is the market going to last? Who knows? I know some investors who buy into the market expecting it to increase. I know some who avoid certain types of investment because they don't want to be in it long. So that's kind of the risk in land is the time it takes to develop it, especially a big development. But the benefit to land is there's not enough inventory in the residential market right now.
That's right.
So if you have a big tract of land and it has the zoning and land use and the infrastructure to support a larger development, a multifamily development, you'll probably do very well in that right now. Even if you own the land, just to sell it to a developer, I would highly recommend that. But land, definitely residential land.
And there's companies that even go in and they'll just do the groundwork and they'll put the infrastructure in, the sewer, they'll kind of lay it out and then they'll sell it. They'll flip the land to a developer. Hey, this is ready to go. This is so that's what's cool about land and having raw land like that. You can go in and just change the zoning and maybe add a couple features, and now all of a sudden you increase the value exponentially just by knowing how to do it, what to do it, being in touch with the county and getting in the zoning.
Yep, the land you get what's called entitlements.
Right.
That's when you go to the county, the local municipality. They say, okay, you can do X, Y, and Z on that. You can get, and I've done appraisals for investors where I appraise it subject to them receiving the entitlements.
Nice.
Or sometimes I'm appraising after. One large appraisal I did back in 2007 or 8 was what's called a DRI, a Development of Regional Impact. The entitlements were given to them back in the 70s.
Wow.
And they just never developed it. It was up by Ocala, and the state bought it for, I believe it was $95 million.
Wow, that's interesting.
And with that one particularly, entitlements came into play with the value of that land.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you did a value check for me on one of my listings before I took the listing. It came in at like $1.8 million. That property's under contract now in Tampa, 5 acres. So 5 acres MOL, R9 zoning. So they're going to put up to 9 units, could potentially be around 40 units in Tampa. So they're willing to pay in the proximity of $1.8 million for that under contract. 41 acres in Spring Hill, I've got under contract at right at $1 million. Property in Safety Harbor under contract over $500,000. These are vacant land parcels that these developers are doing exactly what you said.
Yeah.
I want to keep moving. Let's go to commercial now.
Commercial is a different story. That those big tech companies you talked about with the online, they're more popular than ever. More popular than ever, and that's going to start impacting those retailers.
Yeah.
Not to mention, a lot of people don't go to the office anymore. I know of large office complexes here in Tampa that were just purchased by large corporations that are sitting empty right now.
Yeah.
Because they sent all their employees home, and they're finding that they're being just as productive working from home.
Yeah, the Zoom class.
Exactly. They're finding they don't need to be that micromanaging oversight type management system that they can send them home. They're getting the work done. And I think they're going to start seeing that that's going to save us millions, if not
So that's
billions.
office. Give me a quick word on industrial.
Industrial, I haven't done a whole lot of industrial lately, but the good thing about industrial is even with the online platform, you still need industrial. Amazon has one of the largest industrial complexes down there in Ruskin, and that's a distribution center. They have another large distribution in Lakeland. Just go through the Lakeland area and see all the distributors.
Over by Plant City, by one of my new listings out there, I saw one there. They're taking over the world again. That's why we get to shop local and stay away from them when we can. Office, industrial, warehouse. I sold a couple of commercial properties too recently, and the warehouses. People are relocating their businesses from up north, which is again goes with that trend we were talking about earlier. And they have these restoration type companies or businesses where they actually have trucks and trailers and they're working with their hands. I call the muscular class. They're actually doing something rather than a lot of these elites that are sitting behind a computer. That's about all of our time, Ray. Give me your final thought and how they can contact you.
Contact me. You can go to my website, rayhallappraisals.com. You can call my office at 813-452-5369. And, final piece of advice, like I always say, don't rush into these real estate decisions. I see a lot of people rushing into it, and you can get yourself in trouble in the long run. Be an educated consumer, be an educated buyer, do your homework, and be smart when you go into these decisions.
All right, good stuff. Thanks so much, Ray. RayHallAppraisals.com. Check them out online. ConsumerQB.com as well. And when we come back, we got our friend Greg Bowman in the house, the AC guy of Tampa Bay here in studio. Also, a feel-good story of the day coming up as well. Man turns unexpected inheritance into random acts of kindness campaign. We'll be right back.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
My friends, when choosing a listing agent to sell your home, their track record is critically important. Dennis Prager here for Brandon and Lindsay Rhymes, owners of Platinum MVP Team at Keller Williams Real Estate. They're consistently rated by the MLS in the top 1% of all Tampa Bay realtors, and that's a big deal. Brandon and Lindsay are always among the top realtors in the state. Call them today at 813-750-0550.
Find them at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
My name is James DeJerome, and I produce the Consumer Quarterback Show for Brandon Rhymes. The Consumer Quarterback Show is a team, a group of like-minded professionals who partner together to provide our audience sound advice, knowledge, and information to make them wiser consumers. We work with all types of business owners and aggressively promote our local economy. We're currently conducting interviews for our expert contributors. If you own a business or know someone who would benefit from the exposure our show provides, please contact us at 813-750-0550 or online at consumerqb.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Team. Couple of hot listings here in Tampa Bay. 1200 Gulf Boulevard. This is number 1805, Penthouse Suite at the top of the Meridian. Beautiful, gorgeous views right here in Tampa Bay. Now, this property is almost 4,000 square feet, 3-bedroom suites, office and a den. You also have Gulfside balconies, terraces. You got a balcony overlooking the intercoastal waterways. What a beautiful property right here in Tampa Bay. Now, the price tag is over $2 million, so this is for the VIPs, the executives out there. Great living opportunity, beach style right here in Tampa Bay. Also, got a new listing at 607 Willow. Right here in South Tampa, 607 Willow Avenue in Tampa, almost 2,700 square feet, historic duplex home, great income potential for this property, and it's in the Plant High School District, minutes from downtown Tampa. You can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. And a quick shout out to Golf Cart Depot, aka Discovery Golf Cars, longtime friends of the program. Discovery Golf Cars right here in Tampa Bay, 2 locations. One is in Clearwater, the other's in Tampa. And they will come to you as well if you want to get a repair done. Easy Go, Star EV, Cushman. They offer new and pre-owned. Reach out to our friends at Discovery Golf Cars. Make sure you let them know the real estate quarterback sent you. All right, Greg Bowman, the AC guy, back in studio. Welcome in, my friend.
Thanks, Brian. It's great to be back in.
Yes, sir. What are you seeing out there?
It's busy. It's heating up out there. So, yeah, we're doing everything we can to keep up with it. So
we need some rain, too, don't we?
We sure do.
Boy.
Yeah. No, it's pretty bad. There's a small pond on my property that's been bone dry for a couple weeks. And it's never been that dry.
The lake's down so low right now, too. Man, just kind of get nervous about fires and stuff this time of year. Whew, scary times. When it comes to your air conditioning, some of the things that we've talked about over the years, is the maintenance side. Just indoor air quality is something I love beating that drum. People just don't understand, the importance of cleaning the air that they're breathing. You got some really good stats on that too.
Yeah, definitely. The central air conditioning system is cooling your home, but it also is circulating the air in your home. So it's the perfect vessel to clean that air.
Right.
And we don't understand how dirty that air can get. It's kind of something that we have created and inflicted upon ourselves as we've made our homes more energy efficient and made them tighter.
Right.
We've trapped pollutants inside the home. So the EPA says that the average American home is about 5 times more polluted indoor air than outside.
Wow.
Which that can get pretty severe. So a lot of times health symptoms you may be having may be attributable to the air quality in your home, and it's not too hard of a thing to install some air cleaners into your central air conditioning system to help purify that air and put it back to more like it is outside.
Yeah, I love that. So Greg Bowman here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Greg, just in general too, talk a little about what you've seen out there, kind of like in the battlefield of contractors. It's like you hear these stories sometimes. I hear being a consumer advocate, for so long, I've heard all these different stories over the years of people just being mistreated or just totally kind of led down a wrong path. What are some of the key things to look out for?
Well, it's very important to be cautious because there are so many stories out there, and we see it all the time of bad cases where people have been taken advantage of. But a lot of times it's self-inflicted. Our parents taught us, or typically did teach you, when you're dealing with a contractor, you got to get 3 bids, and
right.
You don't necessarily go with the top one, you don't necessarily go with the bottom one, but you're looking at the lower quotes. The thing about that is, in the contracting field, there's only 4 ways you can really lower the price. We're all buying the same basic equipment and materials. Now, there are different grades of that. So one way we can lower the price is using lower quality materials. So a lower price can equate to lower quality materials. So you need to keep that in mind.
Right.
In our own business, our labor is an expensive part of doing business.
Right.
We could cut our labor costs in half if I wanted to not hold the standards that I hold in the type of employees we'll hire.
Right.
We're background checking, drug testing, fully certified technicians, fully trained. It's possible to, cut those corners and lower labor costs. So a lower quote, oftentimes that's one way that a contractor will accomplish that. They're using lower quality labor. Is that what you want? If that's acceptable to you, okay, but that can bring in some issues.
Right.
And typically that's where it does. That's usually the big one right there. The other way that a quote can be lowered is in avoiding permitting. We see that all the time, where we'll go out behind a job that is just a horrible install, and we go to look with the city or the county, there was never a permit pulled. The good thing about the real estate market is that is starting to force some of that to not happen. Years ago, it was easier to do that. Today, smart home inspectors will look at a new air conditioner system and they'll check and see, is there a permit pulled? And if there's not, okay, well, now the contractor that did it is kind of on.
I want to ask you about that on the flip side, because we see that sometimes when we're listing properties, there's a permit issue, something wasn't closed out, something wasn't, there's some totally misrepresented things. I wanted to ask you that. Greg Bowman on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Coming up, our feel-good story of the day as well. A man turns unexpected inheritance into random acts of kindness campaign. And follow us online. We would love to connect with you at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter. Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP Team, Keller Williams Realty on Facebook. and we'll be right back after this short break.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Alrighty, guys, let me know when you want to proceed. Alrighty, everyone, please stand by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, Platinum MVP team, Keller Williams Realty. We appreciate you hanging out with us here, spending some time with us, maybe in your afternoon drive time. Maybe you're checking out one of our videos on YouTube at this point, but we'd love to connect with you at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, and the Consumer Quarterback Show page out there on Facebook, as well as the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. My wife Lindsay and I own and operate a top 1% ranked realtor team here in Tampa Bay, and that's out of 25,000 realtors. We're in the top 200. So we'd love to help you win in any marketplace, as we say, buying, selling, or investing. And it's a crowded space out there. It really is. So you got to align yourself with great professionals. There's great professionals everywhere. Just make sure you have a good one working for you. A couple of hot listings here in Tampa Bay. I've got a property at 5402 U.S. Highway 92. We got a bar for sale out in Plant City. This is a great commercial asset. Income capacity is through the roof. $12,000 a week to $14,000 a week in income. You've got a 4 COP beverage license, 1,900 square foot building, corner lot, centrally located, fixtures and furniture included. Great opportunity here. 5402 West 92 Highway in Plant City, US 92 out in Plant City. We got a bar for sale out there. 1602 East MLK. This is Gill's Body Shop, 1602 East MLK. This is a great opportunity as well for the handyman type, somebody who has been working on cars and they have a reputable auto business and repair shop available for sale. Turnkey operation. 45-year-old business right here in Tampa Bay, centrally located right in Tampa, close to 275 and I-4, 1602 East MLK Junior Boulevard. And you can see all of our listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
And quick shout out to Victor and his team at Chad Irrigation. They do a great job with all your irrigation needs, residential, commercial. They can access lakes and ponds and water, dig a of course, a well for you. Chad Irrigation, Victor and his team for all your irrigation needs. Friends of the program here. Make sure you shop local. Again, supporting the local economy is so important right now more than ever. And speaking of supporting the local economy, we got Greg Bowman, the AC Guy of Tampa Bay, right here in studio. Greg is the owner of the AC Guy of Tampa Bay, and website is acguyofttampa.com. Now, Greg, we run across these situations sometimes when we're listing a property, we go under contract only to find out, there's permits that weren't closed out. I'm sure you've seen these types of scenarios. What can be done about that? What have you seen over the years? What's a good remedy?
It depends on the situation, really. That's a hard one to answer because it depends on the permit. A permit that hasn't been closed out, that's old enough, if the codes have changed, everything needs to be brought up to current code potentially.
Yep.
So it can be a real mess. But that kind of leans back towards, when you do own a home, you want to make sure whoever is doing the work, that they are doing their job. And that's the job of any contractor, or should be the job of any contractor in the state of Florida, is to pull the proper permits and make sure those permits are properly closed. But again, it's a way that a contractor can look to shave costs and shave price, which I really wish the state would figure out a way to crack down harder on that, because the consumers are the ones who ultimately, bear the brunt of that. Because of it not being handled properly.
It seems like there should be some kind of a hold on their pay until it gets done, or something along those lines. Somehow we got to get involved with that.
I kind of agree with that. Like some kind of way that the final draw on the job doesn't get released until the permit's closed, or something like that. I mean, there is a lot of bureaucracy and red tape that would cause difficulties in that, but there needs to be some way to, or even maybe a bond system where every contractor purchases a bond, and if the permits doesn't get closed, that bond's on the hook for closing out those permits. Something to make it happen. But a lot of times, though, when we do see no permits pulled, it was because it was an unlicensed guy. So, and that, again, goes back to, it never pays to take the cheapest price. I can't say that hard enough. In contracting, that should be a red flag.
And what's surprising for me, too? Sorry to interject there.
No.
Is the handyman. Like handyman, there's some municipalities look at it differently. Sometimes it's licensed, sometimes it's not. And just how busy these handymen are, and they're hanging up punching bags for people, or hanging up TVs in the corner, just these whatnot types of things that are kind of, something you could probably do yourself sometimes, but you're like, I'm too busy to knock it out. But, handymen are they're busy too.
Yeah, but the danger there is a lot of times they cross into areas they shouldn't.
Exactly.
And that's where some problems happen.
That's right.
And that might be because they're not a regulated industry. You don't have to have a license to be a handyman. But it does lend to the fact that because they're used to doing a lot of different trades, different tasks, they'll dabble in plumbing. We've seen them dabble in air conditioning. They'll dabble in electrical things that technically should be left to those professions.
That's right.
But it is permitting and the handling of it in the state of Florida is a mess, in my opinion. And there's a lot of work that needs to be done on that.
That's right. Yep, you see that happen. Just in general, too, when you're running a business, and it's, you're self-employed, it's there's no salary for, the ownership in many cases, right? When we're at the top of the food chain there, we're feast or famine. What are some of your rules to success? What have helped you over the years to be a successful business operating the AC Guy of Tampa Bay?
I think that's a very interesting question. I think the biggest thing is making sure that you make a profit. It's not a bad thing to make a profit.
Right.
Sometimes that's looked at as a negative, but I've always held that we need to at least target making a 10% profit. In the contracting world of air conditioners, the industry average is 2% profit. But 80% of contractors go out of business in 3 years. The biggest reason is because they don't have cash flow. They don't have profit to sustain and support the business. If you can't support the business, you can't then stand behind your work and take care of your customers and do everything else. And so you end up going out of business. So I think that is the key is, you can't apologize. That's actually area number 4. We were talking earlier about the ways you can shave price, and area number 4 is profit.
Yeah.
If I'm at 10% and I got a competitor's at 2%, well, he's 8% cheaper than me on a $5,000 job. That's like $400. Some people would look at it and like, well, he's $400 cheaper. Why can't you be at that price? Because I want to stay in business.
Yeah, exactly.
So sometimes you just have to hold your ground on that in order to be a business that's going to survive and be around.
Yeah, that's a great point. And looking at the website there, 96 plus reviews, 4.96 rating, almost 5% rating across the board. Good stuff, man. Keep up the good work out there, buddy.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for coming in, Greg. Greg Bowman, AC Guy of Tampa Bay. ACGuyofTampa.com is the website. ACGuyofTampa.com. All right, coming up, attorney Millicent Athanason here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Law offices of Millicent Athanason right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Plus, our feel-good story of the day. Man turns unexpected inheritance into random acts of kindness campaign. Pretty cool story coming up. We'll be right back.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is Diane Vance with Fairway Independent Mortgage, a member of the Consumer Quarterback Show. Please give me a call for any of your mortgage needs. We do all sorts of loans. If you would like information on a mortgage, you can text me or call me at 727-647 8199. I will take care of all your mortgage needs. Go to my website at dianevance.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man Brandon Rhymes, a.k.a. the real estate quarterback. Brandon, what's happening with the market?
Thanks, Ian. We are in a low inventory market, so any of our listeners are homeowners and would like a free comparable market analysis or a 2.5% listing, we will honor this for the first 3 listeners who call or text in 813-773-1253. Free CMA and a 2.5% real estate listing at 813-773-1253. Check out consumerqb.com. Selling commercial or residential property? Don't leave money on the table. List with the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. I'm Brandon Rhymes. Reach me at 813-670-7372 or platinummvpteam.com.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And we want to help you win in your real estate deals, buying, selling, or investing. We would love to talk to you. I got a hot listing here in Tampa. We've got 801 and 803 East Palm Avenue, $750,000 for these great income investment opportunities, multifamily. A lot of investors are looking for multifamily properties right now, and we got a great one, 801 and 803 East Palm Avenue in Tampa. Great buying opportunity. Also have a third unit just behind this one at 1905 North Taliaferro. So they're all available. They're all on our website at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, we got our friend Millie Athanason back in studio. Attorney Millie Athanason, that is. Welcome in.
Thank you. It's always great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. And you said you got some updates to the auto industry, some of the insurance.
Yes. So at the end of April, both houses passed Senate Bill 56. So it's been sent to the governor for signature. But since both houses passed it, if the governor doesn't veto it, it's automatically going to become law as of January 1st. And so what these changes encompass, or what they entail, is that the PIP statute as we know it, or personal injury protection statute, is going to be gone. And we're going to become a mandatory bodily injury liability state. So what that means is currently you have PIP coverage, and that says that regardless of whose fault an accident is, the first $10,000 of your medical bills and lost wages are going to be covered primarily by your PIP coverage. And so that means
by your own policy.
By your own policy. So even if you and I are in an accident and the accident's my fault, you have to go through your own policy.
Right, for the first $10,000.
Right, exactly. So now they're going to do away with that completely, because there's been allegations that the PIP statute is kind of ridden with fraud, and that there's, foul play by all these healthcare providers and so forth and so on. So what they're going to say is that you have to have mandatory bodily injury liability coverage, which means that if you or I are in an accident and the accident is my fault, I have to carry liability coverage in order to cover damages to you. Okay? Not just your vehicle or my vehicle, whatever. It has to be, damages to bodily injury. So it says that the state minimum is going to be $25,000, $50,000. So $25,000 per person, $50,000 per accident. What they're going to do now is, in order to cover medical bills, they have to offer you $5,000 as a death benefit and med pay coverage, and then they have to offer, or can offer you, medical payments coverage of $5,000 or $10,000. And what medical payments coverage is that, again, if you and I are in an accident, it's my fault, and you have med pay on your policy, then what will happen is that the insurance will cover your medical bills, not your lost wages, but your medical bills, up to that limit. At, let's say it's $5,000, so they'll cover them at 100% up to $5,000. With PIP, it covers 80% of meds or medical bills and 60% of lost wages. Medical payments only covers medical bills, no lost wages, but it does cover them presumably at 100%.
Okay.
So that's something that's going to be coming or that's out there. In some states where they've done away with PIP coverage, they've allowed the insurance companies to still offer PIP coverage to its insureds for those that want it. However, the way the Senate bill is written, now the House version of it was a little bit different, and it allowed for the insurance companies to offer PIP, but the Senate bill does not. So if that goes into effect, they're not going to be even offering PIP coverage. I mean, it'll be gone. So the status of it as we sit here today is that it's been sent to the governor's office, and he has the opportunity to either sign it into law or veto it. But again, if he does nothing, then it's going to automatically.
What do you think he's going to do? What do you think it's
I
good?
think he's going to do nothing. I think he doesn't want to get any negative publicity whatsoever with an election year coming up. He's going to want to stay kind of squeaky clean. So there's proponents and opponents to the bill.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that our insurance rates, which are already high, are going to go through the roof. And we already have about 20% of our drivers are uninsured on the road.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big percentage when you think about it.
Yeah, it
so
is.
you got 20% of the people driving around with no insurance. If the rates go up, I would imagine that percentage could potentially increase. So that's something that we really need to be, cognizant of.
I bet you a lot of those are illegals too. A lot of the people that are caught, or they don't have insurance, they're illegals. I bet
it could be. That I don't know. There was no statistics on that. But either way, what that does tell us is that you definitely need to carry uninsured motorist coverage. And currently that's a voluntary coverage. And even under the new regime, it's going to remain a voluntary coverage. So they have to offer it to you at least the rates of $25.50, but you can take lower limits on that, or you can just waive it altogether. You can sign a waiver. Where uninsured motorist covers you is that if somebody hits you and causes injury to you and they don't have injury liability coverage, this UM or uninsured motorist coverage will cover you for your injuries. So it's really important to have, because again, if 20% of the people are uninsured, that means that there's a 1 in 5 chance if you get hit that the other person isn't going to have coverage to cover your loss.
Right.
And if you have no PIP or MedPay to cover any medical bills, you can get stuck with all the medical expenses that come out of it.
Could literally bankrupt you. Like these are situations that lead to bankruptcy. Then that leads to divorce. I mean, this can be a tricky downhill spiral for families or people that are just in a position where they don't have the right policies in place. We're talking with attorney Millie Athanason here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Law offices of Millicent Athanason right here in Tampa Bay, athanasonlaw.com. If you're in an accident, if you're considering, hey, what type of policy should I cover, reach out to the show. We'd love to put you in touch with her, 813-750-0550. Call or text. It's an off-air number, 813-750-0550. So you were saying as well?
Oh yes. Okay. So, one other number to reach me at is 1-833-ASK-MILLIE. And so if you need to reach me, we can certainly talk about your insurance policies. But I really think that you need to carry uninsured motorist coverage. And to follow up with what you're saying, people that have lost a lot of money during the COVID and they're just trying to get back on their feet, they're not going to be able to afford rate increases at this time. It's going to be very sad. And they're estimating that the rate increases will be anywhere between like 22% and 30%. That's what they're estimating. That's a hefty bill.
Big time.
I mean, that can be like an extra $800, $900 a year. And if you're already struggling, and that's going to be tough for families, I think.
Just what we need as the politicians are raising, they're going to be raising taxes. That talk about the D.C. here with trillions of dollars they're pumping out, inflation setting in, job crisis, labor crisis. Business owners can't hire enough people. They can't hire people. They're begging people to come to work because our government is giving them free money. Socialists that are running D.C. now. So anyways, back to a local level. What can we do here on a local level? How can we live a better life here, Millie, when it comes to insurance? And the other thing to mention is premium. or your premium rate, like, because some people with your deductible, rather, you can play with that deductible.
Right.
You just got to find what's comfortable for you, and there's a trade-off. There's, of course, the lower deductible, the higher premium.
Yes, you can try, like on your comprehensive collision coverage, you can get a deductible or a higher deductible. I'd certainly be careful with that, but that is something that you can do. A lot of people, what they do to lower the rates is they'll just do away with coverage. And I really advise against that because, again, with so many people being uninsured and the potential for even a higher percentage to be uninsured with these potential changes, then I think that you can, you're doing yourself harm by not protecting yourself when you go out on the road.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, we get a lot of transient drivers from other states too.
Yes.
You don't know what their limits are. Although the majority of them do have mandatory bodily injury liability. But even so, that doesn't mean their policies are up to date.
Right.
So you have to be careful. So I know budgeting becomes kind of a touch and go type subject, but if at all possible, please try to ensure that you have uninsured motorist coverage on your policy. And that when the new changes come out, that you do get medical payments coverage to help with some of those medical bills, because I think that's going to be big.
Yeah, exactly. So the changes to this industry, we talked about some of the changes to homeowners insurance too. The roofing industry changed. There was something that changed there in terms of the payout. But back to Millie in her office, law offices of Millicent Athanason. What other areas of law can you help our listeners with?
Oh, absolutely. I also do family law, so divorces, post-divorce changes to any type of an agreement or judgment that was entered. I do all of that as well. And it's they kind of go hand in hand because a lot of people do get into car accidents around here. Even though they may be going through a divorce, they're kind of sad. They may not be paying attention on the road, that kind of a thing. Things happen. So by all means, that's what I'm here for, is to help people with that. Another thing I wanted to mention, they've tightened up or made some changes to the summary judgment rules in Florida Civil Rules of Procedure. And how that affects us is in the slip and fall arena.
Okay.
A lot of times they're going to say that there's no dispute as to a material fact, and they'll try to get the court to enter a summary judgment, which essentially dismisses your action. It precludes you from going any further with your lawsuit.
Right.
And this happens a lot in slip and fall cases. But before, our standard was so liberal that basically you could just go into court and say, well, Your Honor, I've got some witnesses that are going to say that they saw that puddle on the floor and it's been there for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, under the new rules, it's going to model the federal standard. And under the federal standard, you've got to have more hardcore evidence to show that there's definitely an issue as to a material fact that necessitates a jury to decide this.
Okay.
So most people don't talk about rule changes to the rules of civil procedure because usually that, people think that only affects lawyers.
Right.
However, keep in mind that these rules that are out there, they do affect your cases because it's these rules of procedure that we practice. So when we file a lawsuit, that's the rules of court that we're abiding by.
Right.
So as a lawyer, you not only have to know your case law and you know your statutes, but you really need to know those rules so that you know these subtle differences and how you can utilize them to really help win your case.
Yeah.
So that's important. So yes, when you have a slip and fall, what I would recommend, please take photographs and get the names of any witnesses that witnessed your fall or that sees the stuff on the floor, whatever it is that you slipped on, the problem with the sidewalk or what have you, because it's going to become more important than ever right now going forward with these type of slip and fall cases. And I think a lot of lawyers are going to be afraid to take some slip and fall cases because the rules have changed and it can be easier for an insurance company to get a summary judgment against you. So if you've got your ducks in a row, however, then there is a justiciable issue of material fact. Then it can go to a jury and your case won't get dismissed through a summary judgment. So that's something that's really important that I kind of want to throw out there. Getting the names of witnesses, taking photographs of everything, your bruises, anything that you see that's wrongdoing.
Yep.
Get it photographed, because the case law is saying that that's worth more than words.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the same thing with a car accident. Take a picture of the scene, their surroundings, phone numbers, pull out your cell phone.
Absolutely. Because a lot of time, the police, they aren't there. They don't witness the accident. They come after the fact.
Yep.
So a lot of people think, well, the police were there, they're going to testify. Well, they can only testify as to what they saw, which is usually post-accident issues.
Right.
So obviously one person that doesn't want to get the ticket may, say, well, I didn't do it.
Yeah. Yep. Law offices of Millicent Athanason. Yeah. Check her out online, athanasonlaw.com. Thank you so much, Millie.
Thank
Always
you.
a pleasure having you in. And Ray Hall, Greg Bowman, Millie Athanason, great show today. We want to thank all of our listeners, our team out there behind the scenes putting the show together. And please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.